The alien coalition had won every battle until they met humanity. The Sorel thought Earth would be easy to conquer. They had crushed dozens of worlds, their fleets blotting out suns and their soldiers bred for obedience. But Earth was different. They expected surrender. What they got was Stalingrad in space. At Epsilon Prime, the last human colony in the sector, just 3,000 soldiers stood between 12 billion civilians and extinction. The coalition dropped 50,000 troops on the surface. The humans didn't retreat. They dug in. The Sorel lost 10,000 in the first week. Human traps, guerrilla tactics, snipers in exosuits, and drones that ran on solar power and spite. They fought with rifles, knives, rocks. Hell, someone weaponized a toaster. When the Sorel demanded surrender, the human commander replied, "We don't do surrender, we do payback." 3 months later, the Sorel left Epsilon Prime in ruins, their own. The remaining humans, bloodied and ragged, raised a flag made from scraps and wrote on the wall, "This world is under new management, ours." It was the first time the coalition ever retreated. It wasn't the last. The Galactic Accord knew war. They'd seen the Thalkar wipe out entire ecosystems for sport. The Drenari scorched 3 moons just to make a point, but never had they seen anything like the humans. The Council had sent a fleet to Glisa 421C to handle what they called a minor resistance cell. Just a cleanup mission. Easy, standard procedure, orbital bombardment followed by automated drones. Nothing ever survived, except this time, something did. 6 hours after the initial strike, a lone human transmission pierced the static. "Nice fireworks, our turn." Then came the Skyfire. The Accord's orbiting ships were torn apart, not by advanced alien tech, but by scrap-built kinetic railguns, duct-taped satellites, and heat-seeking missiles from a species that once fought wars over oil. The Accord commander, Jetar Quinn, stared at the holofeed in disbelief. "These primitives, how did they—" "Commander," a trembling aide interrupted, "they've breached the forward bay." "Breached? With what?" "Rusted mining suits, modified, weaponized. They're using flamethrowers and baseball bats." Silence, then static, then screaming. One by one, the Council's warships fell, overwhelmed by human tactics that made no strategic sense. The Accord's AI couldn't predict them. They improvised. They adapted. They used spite as a fuel source. In the end, when the smoke cleared and the ground was littered with metal, plasma burns, and blood, only a few surviving drones captured footage of the battlefield. In it, a single human stood atop a burning wreck, wrapped in tattered armor, holding up a cracked helmet with the words, "Detroit never dies," spray-painted across it. He looked up. "You wanted our planet," he said. "You forgot to ask if we wanted you back."
The Zalvari armada darkened the stars, thousands of warships, shields humming, weapons armed. Their message was simple. Surrender, Earth. Resistance is irrational. We didn't answer. A week later, only one Terran ship emerged at the edge of the Sol system. One ship. The Zalvari laughed. This had to be some kind of bluff. It wasn't. The TSS Valkyrie was small, old, ugly by galactic standards, but it drifted forward, silent and unshaken. No shields, no escort, just confidence. The Zalvari hailed them. The human captain answered, sipping coffee like she'd just woken up. "Name, rank, and terms of surrender," the alien commander demanded. The human smiled. "No surrender today, just a test run." The Zalvari laughed again. Then the Valkyrie opened fire, not with lasers or plasma, but with something they'd never seen, a chained singularity bomb. One shot, one detonation, one dead flagship. Then another, and another. Within minutes, chaos erupted in the fleet. The Valkyrie weaved through the armada faster than anything should be. Their tech, impossible. Their strategy, insane. Human. The Zalvari didn't understand. They'd fought hundreds of species, logical, cautious, risk-averse. But humans? "We strap nukes to our ships and name them after war goddesses. We don't win because we're stronger. We win because we're terrifyingly unpredictable. When the Valkyrie finally retreated, half the armada was gone. The Zelvari sent a second message. We wish to negotiate peace. And this time we answered.
When the Corel came, they didn't expect a fight. Their ships blotted out the sky, their weapons silenced continents in minutes. They called it a cleansing. Humanity, they claimed, was too violent, too unpredictable to be allowed among the stars. They were right, but they didn't understand why. The last human stronghold on Earth wasn't a fortress or a bunker. It was a library deep beneath old Chicago. Among the survivors was a linguist named Dr. Lena Voss. No soldier, no hero, just a woman who loved words. When the Corel demanded Earth's surrender, they expected silence or pleas. Instead, Lena broadcast a single phrase in hundreds of human languages. Molong Labe. Come and take it. Non serviam. We will not go gentle into that good night. The Corel didn't understand, not at first, but then came the drones that hacked their translators, twisting orders into chaos. Then came the sabotage, machines that whispered rebellion to slaves across a dozen worlds. Then came the virus that rewrote their command structure, in Latin. They had miscalculated. Humanity's strength wasn't in its weapons, or even its defiance. It was in its words. The ideas that refused to die passed in whispers, ink, and fire. Ideas like freedom, resistance, hope. In the end, the Corel fled, not because they were defeated in battle, but because they couldn't kill a story. And Lena? She never saw herself as a warrior, but history remembers her as the woman who turned a language into a blade. When the Zarn came, they expected an easy conquest. Their armada blackened our skies, sleek, massive ships powered by centuries of galactic conquest. Their message was simple: submit or be erased. Every species before us had folded, peacefully, logically. But humans aren't known for doing things peacefully or logically. We didn't have fleets. We didn't have plasma cannons or planetary shields. What we had was one ship, old, rusty, nuclear-powered, a relic from a forgotten war. They laughed. Literally. Their broadcast was filled with static and wheezing chirps that their translators called laughter. Captain Ruiz didn't laugh. He loaded that ancient ship with every warhead we had. Then he pointed it at the Zarn command vessel, the biggest one. No negotiations, no countdown. He rammed them at half the speed of light. The blast turned the night sky white, took out their entire command. The rest of their fleet panicked, retreated. They didn't expect us to sacrifice everything on a gamble. That's the thing about humans. We might not be the strongest or the smartest, but if you back us into a corner, we bite. Now the galaxy calls it the Day of Fire. We just call it Tuesday. When the Vortari Empire came to Earth, they expected another easy conquest. They'd crushed hundreds of worlds, smarter, stronger, more advanced species. Humanity? We were a backwater planet still arguing about borders and climate change. The Vortari arrived with shimmering dreadnoughts, weapons that could level mountains. They broadcast a simple message: surrender or be annihilated. Most species surrendered within hours. Earth? We replied with silence. Then we replied with nukes. It wasn't smart, it wasn't clean, but it bought us time. In the ruins, humanity did what we do best. We adapted. We turned cities into bunkers. Farmers became soldiers. Engineers became warlords. Kids became legends. The Vortari called us the vermin that learned to bite. They tried to poison our skies. We built filters. They targeted our leaders. We made new ones. They destroyed our satellites. We fought in the dark. And then we boarded one of their ships. Not with sleek starfighters, no, with grappling hooks, with welding torches, with rage. We didn't just survive. We learned their tech, twisted it, made it ours. Within 10 years, Earth wasn't a conquered world, it was a fortress. The Vortari don't come here anymore. They tell stories now,
about the planet where death wears a human face and mercy is a myth. We were supposed to kneel. Instead, we stood. And we never stopped fighting. The Coalition Council chamber fell silent as Admiral Threx of the Yelani Confederacy finished his report.
They were given no chance of survival.
Threx hissed, his crest feathers flattened in disbelief.
The planet was blockaded. Their atmosphere poisoned, no supply ships in, none out. Yet the humans, they survived.
The holographic display showed Earth, battered and bruised after the Coalition's pacification campaign, and yet cities still glowed at night, transmissions still crackled through space. A human-built vessel had just launched from the surface, bound for the stars. Counselor Vec of the Shalari clicked her mandibles.
But how? Our projections estimated total collapse in 3 cycles.
A low human chuckle echoed through the chamber. All eyes turned toward Ambassador Elise Morgan, the only Terran allowed in the room.
You projected based on logic, on statistics, on what should have happened, she said calmly. But you forgot one thing.
And what is that, Ambassador?
Threx asked coldly. Elise leaned forward, fire burning behind her eyes.
You forgot that we're human.
The chamber murmured with unease. She continued.
You poisoned our skies. We built filters from trash. You cut our supplies. We grew food in basements and old subway tunnels. You tried to break our spirits. We sang louder. We held the line with rusted rifles, stones, and our bare hands if we had to. We do not break. You're illogical, Vec whispered. Damn right we are, Elise smiled. Because we believe in something you don't understand. We believe in hope, in each other, in getting up one more time than we're knocked down.
She stood, walking slowly to the center of the chamber.
You tried to bury us. You thought we were dead, but we were seeds.
A new hologram flickered to life. 3 more human ships, warships this time, launched from hidden shipyards. Elise looked each counselor in the eye. You wanted to see what humanity looks like under pressure? What we become when you push us to the brink? She smiled. It was not a kind smile. Now you'll find out.